The human man lived alone at the edge of a forgotten world. His house was small, made of stone and wood, standing quiet under the red sky of the alien planet. Every day was the same. He woke up, worked in the fields, and sat by the fire at night with no one to speak to. Silence was his only companion. He had left Earth many years ago, searching for peace. But instead, he found emptiness. That evening, as the twin suns sank behind the hills, he heard something unusually knock on his door. It was soft at first, almost like the wind, but then came again, louder, steady, like the hand of someone who is not afraid. His heart jumped. No one ever came this far. Travelers avoided this lonely place. He moved to the door slowly, unsure if he was dreaming. When he opened it, he saw a figure standing there, a young alien girl. Her skin was pale silver, and her eyes glowed faintly in the dark like two small moons. She was not tall, not frightening, but her presence carried weight, as if the night itself had walked to his door. She tilted her head and looked up at him. "Human," she said in a clear voice. "Are you still alone?" The man froze. Her words struck him like an arrow. How did she know? How could she see the loneliness in him so easily? He had no answer, so he only nodded, staring at her in silence. The girl stepped closer. "My mother sent me," she continued. "She says you should not be alone anymore. My mother makes bread and boties. She says she will be the best wife you ever had." The words were strange. They twisted inside his mind. Bread and bodies. A wife. He felt a chill run through him. Was this a trick, a cruel joke, or some alien custom he could not understand? He stepped back, but the girl did not move from his doorway. Her voice was calm, almost kind, but her eyes never blinked. "My mother makes bread for the living," she said, "and bodies for those who are gone. She says you need both." The human's throat went dry. He wanted to close the door, but some unseen force held him still. Curiosity burned inside him, stronger than fear. He whispered, "Why me?" The girl's lips curved into a small smile. "Because you are the only one here who is still waiting." The wind rose outside, carrying the smell of dust and strange flowers. The night grew colder, but the girl did not shiver. She looked at him as if she had been watching him for years. He realized she might know more about his life than he wanted to believe. He asked her carefully, "And what does your mother want from me?" The girl's eyes seemed to brighten, reflecting the firelight from his house. "She wants to give you a family. She wants you to come with me. She says she will show you what bread tastes like when it is baked with love. And she will show you how no one ever has to be alone again." The human's heart beat faster. A family. The word was like a forgotten dream. He had once wished for it, long ago, before war and loss had taken everything from him. But now, hearing it from this strange child, the dream felt dangerous. He shook his head. "I don't know your mother. I don't know you. Why should I trust this?" The girl blinked slowly, her silver eyes steady. "Because you have nothing else. And because you opened the door." Her answer sent a shiver down his spine. He realized she was right. He had opened the door when he could have stayed silent. Some part of him wanted to hear her, wanted to believe. The girl stepped back, pointing toward the dark forest beyond the hills. "She is waiting," she said. "If you are brave, you will follow me. If you are not, then you will sit alone until your bones turn to dust. My mother does not like wasted lives." The man looked past her, into the night. The forest was thick and full of shadows. He could almost see shapes moving between the trees, but he could not tell if it was only the wind. His chest tightened. He turned his gaze back to the girl, who stood calm and patient, as if she had all the time in the world. He thought of the years he had spent in silence, the empty nights, the hollow mornings. Her words had opened an old wound inside him, loneliness deeper than hunger. The fire crackled behind him, but the night ahead pulled at him like a tide. He did not know what kind of bread her mother made, or what she meant by bodies. But he knew one thing: his life would not stay the same after this night. He whispered to himself, almost in fear, "What if I go?" The girl answered without hesitation, "Then everything will change." And with that, she turned and began walking into the shadows. Not waiting to see if he would follow, the man stood at his doorway, torn between the safety of his lonely fire and the mystery of the dark forest. His hands trembled. The question hung in the air like thunder. Would he remain alone forever? Or step into the unknown? The human hesitated at his door for a long time, watching the alien girl disappear into the forest. The shadows swallowed her quickly, as if the trees themselves had opened to guide her path. He stood frozen, torn between fear and curiosity. His house behind him was safe, familiar, but empty. The forest before him was dark, dangerous, but alive with secrets. Finally, he whispered to himself, "If I stay alone forever." Slow, heavy steps. He followed. The path twisted through strange plants with glowing petals and tall roots that rose like towers. The air smelled sweet, like baked bread, but mixed with another scent sharp and metallic, like blood. His heart pounded as he walked deeper, guided only by the faint glow of the girl ahead. She never looked back, as if certain he would follow. After what felt like hours, the trees opened into a clearing. At its center stood a house unlike any he had seen before. It was large, made of dark stone, yet warm light spilled from the windows. The roof was covered in vines that glowed faintly in the night. The air around the house carried the thick, inviting smell of fresh bread. The girl stopped at the door and turned to him. Her silver eyes reflected the light. "She is inside," she said simply. He felt his stomach twist. "Your mother," he whispered. She nodded. "She has been waiting a long time." Before he could answer, the door opened slowly with a creak. A tall figure stepped into the light. It was the mother. Her presence was strong, commanding, yet strangely gentle. Her skin was darker silver than her daughter's, her hair long and black, braided with thin strands of gold. Her eyes glowed softly, warm yet unreadable. She smiled at him as if she already knew everything about him. "Welcome, human," she said, in a voice rich and calm. "Come inside. You look cold." Against his better judgment, he stepped into her home. The warmth hit him immediately. The air was filled with the smell of bread baking in an oven. The table in the center of the room was covered with loaves, rolls, and cakes, all steaming and fresh. For a moment, he almost forgot his fear. The scent reached deep into his memories, his childhood. His mother's kitchen, mornings long gone. The alien mother gestured for him to sit. "You have been alone for too long," she said. "I can see it in your eyes. My daughter was right to bring you here." He sat slowly, his hands trembling. "Why?" he asked. "Why bring me?" She placed a loaf of bread before him. "Because you are a man without a family. And I am a mother who makes families." He frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" She smiled, a slow, knowing smile. "I make bread for the living," she said, "and I make bodies for the lost. With my hands, I can shape flesh as easily as I shape dough. I can give you food for your hunger, and faces for your loneliness. I can give you a wife, children, a home. No human should live alone." The man's chest tightened. Her words filled him with both hope and terror. "You make bodies?" he asked softly. The mother leaned closer, her eyes glowing brighter. "Yes, bread fills the stomach. Bodies fill the heart. You need both." He felt sweat on his neck. But they would not be real. Her smile did not fade. "What is real? Human. Is love less real because it was shaped by hands instead of chance?" Is a child less real if it comes from my oven of flesh instead of a womb? You are lonely. I offer you an end to that." The girl, standing quietly at her mother's side, whispered, "She will be the best wife you ever had." The man looked at them both, his mind spinning. The bread before him smelled so warm, so safe, and yet her words chilled him. Was she offering kindness or a trap? He finally asked, his voice shaking, "And what do you want in return?" The mother's eyes darkened for a moment. "Only what every wife wants," she said softly. "A husband who will stay. A man who will share her table. A man who will not run." The silence stretched. He felt the weight of her gaze pressing down on him. Part of him wanted to run back to his lonely house, but another part, deep inside, longed to believe her. The promise of warmth, of family, of never being alone again was almost too powerful to resist. The mother placed her hand gently over his. Her skin was cool, almost too perfect. "Eat," she whispered. "Taste what I have made. Then decide." He looked down at the bread, steam rising into the air. His stomach growled, but his heart pounded harder. The smell was sweet, but beneath it, he sensed something else, something unnatural. If he ate, he knew he would step onto a path he could never leave. The girl's silver eyes shone in the firelight as she watched him. "Be brave," she said softly. The man reached forward, his hand trembling. His fingers touched the bread, and in that moment he realized he was no longer choosing food. He was choosing his future. The bread was soft, warm, and rich with flavor. The man chewed slowly, letting the taste melt across his tongue. For a moment, he forgot where he was. The memory of Earth filled his mind, his mother's kitchen. A wooden table, mornings of laughter that had vanished long ago. But as the warmth spread through him, he noticed something strange. The bread was sweet, almost too sweet, and there was a faint metallic note beneath it. He swallowed hard, uneasy that the alien mother watched him closely, her glowing eyes never blinking. "Good, isn't it?" she asked softly. He forced a nod. "Yes. It tastes like home." Her lips curved into a knowing smile. "That is what I give, human, home. Bread for the living, bodies for the lost. No man should live with emptiness." Her daughter leaned closer, whispering like a shadow in his ear. "Now you understand. She makes bread for the hungry and bodies for the lonely." The man's stomach twisted. He looked around the house, noticing things he had ignored before. Shelves lined the walls, stacked not only with food, but with shapes covered by white cloth. The shapes were too large for bread. Some were the size of people lying still. A chill ran down his spine. "What are those?" he asked. The mother's smile never faded. She rose from her chair and walked slowly toward the covered forms. With a graceful hand, she pulled back one of the cloths. The man's breath caught in his throat. Beneath the cloth lay a human body. Its skin was pale, its chest still, but its face was calm, as if asleep. He stepped back, his heart pounding. The mother stroked the body's cheek as if it were her own child. "I made this one for a man who lost his son," she said softly. "He came to me in tears. I shaped the boy again, gave him back the face he loved. He was no longer alone." The human shook his head in disbelief. This is wrong. Wrong." The mother turned, her glowing eyes sharp. "Or merciful. Do you think death must always win? I bake bread for empty stomachs, and I make flesh for empty hearts. I heal the hunger of body and soul. Why should you call that wrong?" The girl stepped between them, her silver eyes wide. "She can make a family for you," she said. "Children to run in your field. A wife to hold your hand at night. No more silence. No more empty bed." The man's hands trembled. He wanted to deny her words, but they stabbed into his heart like knives. He remembered nights spent staring at the fire, wishing for voices, laughter, love. And now, here was a woman, Anne, Ailey, offering him everything he had lost. Yet fear wrapped around him like chains. He looked at the body again. Though it seemed alive, something about it was wrong. Its stillness was too deep, its skin too perfect. It looked like a painting of life, not life itself. The mother covered the body again with care, then turned back to him. "You have carried loneliness long enough. Let me carry it for you. Let me shape you a new life. All you must do is stay." Her words were gentle, but her eyes burned with something more. Possession, desire, a hunger not only to give, but to keep. The man's breath came fast. "And if I refuse?" he asked. Her smile faded, replaced by something colder. "If you refuse, you will return to your empty house. You will eat ashes instead of bread. You will sleep beside shadows instead of a wife. You will die, and no one will bury your bones. That is what you choose if you walk away." The fire in the oven hissed and cracked. The smell of bread grew thicker, almost choking. The girl's voice trembled as she spoke again. "Don't say no. You opened the door. You followed me here. That means you are already part of us." The man looked at them both, mother and daughter, two silver figures glowing in the firelight. He felt trapped, like an insect caught in a web. His eyes shifted back to the shelves, where more covered shapes rested in silence. How many bodies had she made? How many had accepted her offer? Were they alive somewhere? Or only illusions shaped of flesh? The mother stepped closer, her hand reaching for his cheek. "I can give you everything," she whispered. "Bread for your hunger, bodies for your heart, a family that will never leave." Her fingers brushed his skin. They were cool, too smooth, almost like polished stone. The man swallowed hard, his voice breaking. "But will they be real?" Her eyes glowed brighter, almost blinding. "They will be yours, and that is enough." The room fell silent, the air heavy with the smell of bread and the weight of his choice. The man stood frozen, caught between desire and dread. He could feel the forest outside calling him back. But inside this house was the promise of everything he had ever wanted, and deep in the shadows, the covered bodies seemed to breathe. Asterisk the human sat stiffly at the table, his eyes darting between the glowing oven and the white-draped shapes resting along the walls. The smell of bread was warm and sweet, but beneath it, he felt the weight of something unnatural. The alien mother moved gracefully around the room, as if the house itself obeyed her steps. Her daughter stayed close, silent now, her silver eyes fixed on him as if measuring every breath he took. The mother returned with another tray. On it were more loaves, golden and perfect, their crusts still cracking with heat. She placed one before him and gently tore it open. Steam rose, filling the air with the smell of wheat, butter, and honey. She set a knife beside him, its blade thin and sharp. "Eat," she said softly. "Eat, and let your body know comfort again." The man hesitated. His stomach growled, but his hands refused to move. He felt as though the bread was more than food, it was a test. If he ate, he would be taking something he could never give back. The mother leaned closer, her eyes glowing brighter. "Bread is simple," she whispered. "It is trust made into food. If you take it from my hand, you accept me. If you refuse, you insult me." Her words cut deep. He had lived long enough among strangers to know what hospitality meant. Refusing food was more than rude, it was dangerous. But here, in this strange home, the rules were twisted. He finally reached for the bread, his fingers trembling. He tore a piece and placed it in his mouth. Again, the flavor was rich, full of sweetness and salt, but again, that faint metallic note lingered beneath it. He chewed slowly, staring at her. The mother smiled. Good. You honor my table. She turned, walking toward the shelves of covered bodies. With one smooth motion, she pulled the cloth from another form. This one was different. The body looked exactly like a woman he had once known, a woman from Earth, long dead. His heart stopped. He staggered to his feet. No, this can't be. The mother's smile deepened. Do you see? I can make what you miss. I can give back what was taken. Flesh obeys me as dough does the baker. You can have her again. You can have anyone you loved. Just say the word. The man's chest burned with both longing and terror. He remembered that woman, her laughter, her warmth, and for a moment, the temptation was unbearable. But the stillness of the body struck him with horror. Its chest did not rise. Its eyes were closed. It looked like life frozen in stone. This is not living, he whispered. The mother tilted her head, her smile never fading. Does it matter if it fills the hole inside you? The girl spoke for the first time in a trembling voice. She can make a family for you, human, brothers, sisters, children. No more nights alone. The man shook his head violently. No, they would not be real. They would be shadows. The mother's eyes grew colder. And what is real? She asked. Is loneliness real? Is hunger real? Must pain be your only truth? I offer you a different truth, one of fullness, warmth, and family. Her voice softened, almost tender. You must decide, human. Do you trust me enough to accept my gift? Or do you throw it away and return to the grave you call a house? The fire cracked louder, sparks rising into the air. The smell of bread seemed stronger now, wrapping around him like invisible hands. He felt dizzy, as if the air itself carried her will. The girl stepped forward, placing a hand on his arm. Her touch was cool, but steady. Be brave, she whispered. Don't fight her. She only wants to give. The man pulled his arm back, sweat dripping down his forehead. He could feel the walls closing in, the shelves of silent bodies watching him like an audience. He wanted to run, but his legs felt heavy. Finally, the mother placed both her hands on the table and leaned close. Her glowing eyes filled his vision, leaving no space for thought. This is the test, she said, her voice low and commanding. Take what I offer and be mine, or refuse me and walk back into death. The man swallowed hard, his throat dry. His mind screamed at him to escape, but his heart whispered of warmth, of laughter, of voices he had not heard in years. The temptation was unbearable. The mother slid the bread closer to him. One more bite, she said. If you take it, you stay. If you refuse, you leave. The girl's silver eyes widened, full of strange hope. The fire hissed louder, the oven glowing brighter, as if the whole house leaned in to hear his choice. The man's hand hovered over the bread, trembling. He felt the weight of eternity in that moment, and as he touched the crust, the covered bodies along the walls shifted just barely, as if they breathed. The human froze. The house was alive. The man's hand froze above the bread as the shapes under the white cloths stirred again. His breath caught. He thought he had imagined it before, but now he was sure one of the bodies shifted. The cloth rising slightly as if something underneath had drawn breath. He pulled his hand back sharply. His chair scraped against the floor. They're moving, he whispered, his voice shaking. The alien mother's face did not change. Her eyes glowed calmly, her lips still curved in that patient smile. Yes, she said softly, as if speaking to a frightened child. They move. That is what bodies are meant to do. The girl stepped closer, silver eyes wide with quiet intensity. She can make them live, she said. All of them. And she can make one just for you. The human shook his head, backing toward the wall. This This is wrong. You're not giving life, you're pretending. The mother moved gracefully around the table, her presence filling the room. No, she said, her voice low and firm. I do not pretend. I shape, I create. I take emptiness and fill it. Is that not what life is? He could not answer. His heart thundered in his chest, louder than the crackle of the oven fire. The smell of bread wrapped around him, sweet and choking at once. The mother stopped in front of him. She was tall, taller than he expected, her silver skin glowing in the firelight. She looked into his eyes with a strange mix of power and softness. You are tired of silence, she whispered. Tired of cold nights. You dream of arms around you, of laughter, of warmth. I can give you all of it. Her hand lifted, pale fingers brushing his cheek. They were smooth, too smooth, almost like polished stone warmed by fire. I will make you a wife. She said. The man's breath caught. His voice cracked when he spoke. A wife. The mother's smile widened. Yes, a bride shaped for you. Flesh that will not leave, love that will not fade. She will cook with you, walk with you, sleep beside you. She will be the best wife you ever had. The girl nodded eagerly, almost whispering with excitement. She makes bread and bodies. Bread for the stomach, bodies for the heart. She will give you both. The man felt his knees weaken. For years, he had lived in silence. No wife, no children, no family. He had told himself he was strong enough, but every night by the fire had cut him deeper. And now, this mother was offering to take that pain away, to fill the hollow parts of his soul, but the sight of the covered bodies burned in his mind. They looked too still, too empty, like puppets waiting for strings. He swallowed hard. She wouldn't be real. She wouldn't be alive. The mother tilted her head. Alive is a word men cling to when they fear what they cannot understand. She would be yours. She would love you. And she would never leave. He shook his head, desperate. Love can't be made like bread. The mother's glowing eyes sharpened. Can't it? Do you not feel warmth from food when you are starving? Do you not feel hope from a roof when the storm rages? Love is no different. It can be shaped, baked, given. Her voice grew softer, more intimate. And unlike the women of your world, she will never grow old. She will never betray you. She will never leave you for another. She will be perfect forever. The man's chest tightened with both temptation and dread. A wife who would never leave. A family built to his needs. It was everything he had once dreamed of, but twisted into something unnatural. The girl's voice trembled with urgency. Say yes. If you say yes, she will make her tonight. By morning, you will not be alone. The man's legs felt heavy. He glanced again at the shelves of silent bodies. He thought of the woman from Earth he had once loved. He imagined her face brought back, smiling, reaching for him again. His heart ached at the thought, but another part of him recoiled. What if this was not love, but a prison? What if the wife was nothing but flesh shaped into chains? The mother stepped closer, her eyes burning now with strange fire. You have one choice, human. Stay and take the life I give. Or walk away and return to your grave of silence. But know this, if you leave, you will never be offered again. Her hand reached out once more, this time holding not bread, but a piece of glowing dough. It pulsed faintly in her palm, as if it already carried a heartbeat. The first piece of your bride, she whispered. Take it. Accept her. The man stared, frozen in horror and desire. The house seemed to lean in, the bodies beneath the cloths shifting ever so slightly, waiting, and in the heavy silence. He realized that this was not just an offer, it was a trap. Asterisk. The glowing dough in the alien mother's palm pulsed like a small heart. Its faint light spread across the room, casting shadows on the walls where the covered bodies rested. The human stared at it, his stomach twisting, his hands trembling. He had seen strange things before on alien worlds, but never this, never flesh being offered like food. Never love promised like a loaf of bread. "Take it," the mother whispered, her voice low and smooth. "It is the beginning of your wife. One bite, and I will finish her before the sun rises. By morning, she will sit beside you, warm and alive, yours forever." Her daughter leaned closer, her silver eyes wide with hope. "Don't be afraid. This is a gift. We brought you here because you are ready." The man shook his head slowly. "No, no, I can't." His voice cracked with both fear and longing. "Love isn't made this way. Life isn't made this way." The mother's smile faded. Her glowing eyes narrowed, sharp as knives. "You speak of rules as if they matter. What has your so-called natural life given you? Empty nights, silent mornings, an empty house, and a heart that rots in its cage. I offer freedom from that prison." The man stepped back, but the walls seemed closer now. The bodies under the cloths shifted again, their faint movements like restless sleepers. He felt as if every one of them was watching him, waiting for him to give in. "I don't want a prison," he said, his chest tight, "even if it's warm, even if it's full. I don't want love that isn't real." The girl's voice trembled, almost pleading. "But real love leaves. Real love dies. My mother makes love that stays." "Why is that worse?" He could not answer. His heart ached with the truth of her words. Real love had left him once. Real love had died. That was why he lived alone on this broken edge of the galaxy. Was a perfect bride, shaped by alien hands, really worse than nothing at all? The mother stepped closer, her hand still holding the pulsing dough. Its light beat stronger, faster, as if it heard his doubt. She leaned so close he could feel the coolness of her breath. "You want this?" she said. "I see it in your eyes. You are tired of pretending to be strong. Tired of empty years. Take her. Take the wife you deserve." Her words sank deep into him. He saw visions in his mind, a woman's laughter in his house, small hands tugging at his sleeve, the warmth of a family gathered around his fire. He saw everything he had lost, everything he had once dreamed of, laid before him again. His hand lifted without thought. His fingers reached toward the glowing dough. Then he stopped. Something inside him, small but stubborn, held him back. He looked at the shelves again, at the bodies under the cloths. He remembered the one that looked like the woman from Earth, perfect but lifeless. He remembered how their stillness had felt wrong, how their silence had screamed louder than his own loneliness. He pulled his hand back sharply. "No," he said, louder now, his voice firm, though his body shook. "No. If I take this, I will not be free. I will be yours. You don't want to give me a wife? You want to own me?" The mother's eyes blazed with sudden fire. Her calm mask cracked, and for the first time, anger showed on her silver face. "Own you," she hissed. "I would save you. I would make you whole. And you dare call it chains?" The oven roared, flames leaping higher, the heat pressing against his skin. The smell of bread turned heavy, almost sour. The bodies beneath the claws stirred again, louder this time, as if his refusal had woken them. The girl stepped back, her face pale with shock. "Don't make her angry," she whispered. But the man stood his ground, his heart hammering in his chest. "I will not eat. I will not take her. Better to be lonely than to live a lie." For a long, terrible moment, silence filled the house. Only the hiss of the fire and the faint rustle of shifting bodies broke it. The mother's glowing eyes locked on his, sharp and furious. Then, slowly, her lips curved into a cold smile. "So be it, human. You choose hunger. You choose emptiness. But do not think you will leave untouched. No one enters my house and walks away the same. Her voice dropped to a whisper that seemed to echo inside his skull. You have refused bread. You have refused bodies. But you are still mine because you opened the door. The man felt a chill spread through him, deeper than cold, deeper than fear. For the first time, he wondered if he had made the right choice, because behind him, the covered bodies began to rise. The house groaned like a living creature. The shelves shook, and the white cloths covering the bodies slid away one by one. Pale shapes sat upright, their heads turning toward the human. Their eyes were closed, but their chests moved, faint and slow. Like lungs filled with dust, the man staggered back until his shoulders pressed against the wall. His heart hammered in his chest, each beat a drum of terror. He had refused the bread, refused the body. But now the price of refusal filled the room around him. The alien mother stood tall at the center of it all, her silver skin glowing brighter than fire. Her eyes burned like molten stars, her calm mask replaced with something far more terrible power laid bare. You rejected my gift, she said, her voice echoing like thunder in a cavern. You chose emptiness over fullness. Very well. Then emptiness shall claim you. The daughter rushed forward, her face pale, her silver eyes wide with fear. Mother, no, she cried. He is only afraid. Do not punish him, please. But the mother lifted her hand, and the bodies moved. They rose slowly, like puppets pulled by invisible strings. Their heads turned, their faces blank, but their movements steady. They stepped down from the shelves and began to surround him, silent and cold. The man's breath came in sharp gasps. He pressed himself against the wall, looking for escape, but there was none. The window was too small, the door blocked by the mother's glowing form. He clenched his fists, ready to fight if he had to. What do you want from me? He shouted, his voice breaking. The mother's smile returned, sharp and cruel. What I always wanted. A husband who will not leave. A man who will stay. If you will not take bread, then you will join the bodies. The man's stomach turned to ice. You would kill me. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. Not kill. Keep. You will sit among them, silent but never alone. Your body will remain here, shaped into my family, until the end of time. The bodies shuffled closer, their pale hands reaching out. Their touch was cold, like the stone of a grave. The man swung his arms, striking one aside, but another grabbed at his sleeve. He tore himself free, his mind screaming. The girl darted between them, her small frame trembling. Stop, she cried to her mother. This is not the way. You said we bring him love, not chains. The mother's voice grew sharper, cutting through the air. Love is chains, child. Bread binds the hungry. Flesh binds the lonely. He chose loneliness, so I will bind him in silence. The man's fear burned into fury. He shouted, No. Love is not chains. Love is choice. The mother's glowing eyes narrowed. Then choose human. Choose your final answer. Stay and take the wife I give you, or join the silent ones. Those are the only doors before you. The room seemed to close in. The fire roared higher, the smell of bread choking the air. The bodies pressed closer, their cold hands brushing his skin. The girl stared at him with desperate eyes, as if begging him to say yes and save himself. But deep inside, the man felt something break free. He remembered laughter that was real, voices that had once filled his life. A love that had been born not from dough or hands, but from hearts beating freely. It had been lost, yes, but it had been real, and he would rather die with that memory than live in a lie. His voice was firm now. steady, despite the fear. My answer is no. I will not take your bread. I will not take your bodies. I will not take your chains. The room fell silent. Even the fire seemed to pause. The mother's eyes blazed, her fury like a storm ready to break. For a moment, he thought she would strike him down where he stood. But then, slowly, she lowered her hand. The bodies froze, their blank faces turning back toward her like obedient children. The oven dimmed, the smell of bread fading into ash. Her voice was cold, flat as stone. Then leave. Go back to your grave of loneliness. But know this, human you refused love when it came to your door. You will never be offered again. The girl's face crumpled with sorrow, but she said nothing. She only watched him with wide silver eyes as he stumbled toward the door. He pushed it open, and the cold night air rushed in, washing away the heavy heat of the house. The forest stretched before him, dark and endless, but free. He looked back once, just once, and saw the mother standing in the doorway. Her glowing eyes still burning, her daughter at her side. Then the door closed, sealing the house of bread and bodies behind him. The man walked into the forest, his heart heavy but unbroken. He had chosen loneliness over chains, emptiness over lies. His nights would still be silent, his mornings still cold. But his soul remained his own, and as he vanished into the dark, the mother's whisper followed him, soft as the wind. You will be mine in the end.